Hey guys, what's up? My name's Theo. I play middle linebacker for the Hilversum Hurricanes. That is in Europe, that's in the Netherlands, that's this helmet right here. That's a prop replica helmet of the Panthers. Cost me just as much as a normal helmet would cost. Anyways, I do football videos every Monday and Friday on this channel. I do vlog every single day. Why Monday and Friday? Well, it's nice to kind of pair the ends of the week, but the day before we have practices. Currently we are on Winterstop, which is just the December break, but it's like January already and we are still like, what's going on? So I do not know what's happening for me tomorrow, which is Friday, when this video goes live. I figured the press conference would happen as per typical on a Tuesday. But no. Supposedly all the stuff is supposed to end tomorrow, the day they do the press conference. And I'm just like, you're cutting it a little close there. Reminds me of like scoring the safety in the last second of the game that puts you from 19 to 21 points. And it's not a 19 to 20 game, it's a 21 to 20 game. And you're like, y'all couldn't have done it any closer. I mean, to be fair, yeah. So on the Friday videos, I do comment responses to the football related comments on any video, but they typically wind up on football videos anyways. And then I go over news and stuff, which I already kind of went over. And then I would go out to practice tonight, but we're not having practices right now. I do not know if we'll be even having practice on this Sunday. I don't know. It's frustrating for my little, autistic ADD brain that I don't know a couple days out whether or not I'm going to have an all-day. So let's go over comments. So at the end of this video, we're just going to go over what the playoff pictures look like for the NFL. Pictures, whatever. Everything's done and played. Week 18 is done. So we're moving on to, I don't think there even is an NFL game scheduled tonight, is there? Wild card round, Bengals Raiders, Saturday. It would be 10:30 for me. Jesus Christ. We'll get into that one. There's no game scheduled tonight. There's no Thursday night football. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go over comments, scroll back. I had a guy in Germany go over a bunch of my Football 101 content. It's a playlist just to basically explain the nuts and bolts of the game. He's asking 102 questions, kind of a good idea maybe to go into those, but it's like, it feels like I should just like answer all of his questions in one video with the whiteboard. I don't know. If the lockdown continues, I'll probably go ahead and re-record a bunch of those and throw them up. I don't know, 100, 200 level football. I don't know what I'll call it. Okay, so YouTube comments are weird. So 6 days ago, any football related? Okay, so 5 days ago, Lindsey Jones asks on the original football uniform suit up is, what is your mascot? Well, for that team, it was the Pit Bulls. We did not actually have like anybody in a fursuit or anything. We didn't even have a dog that came to our games. People on the team owned Pit Bulls, but nothing was the official mascot. I currently play on the Hurricanes and we have no mascot. What would the mascot be? I have no idea. But I know many German teams do. Like there's a whole like GFL 1 and 2 mascot thing where they all kind of get together and you can like follow their individual pages like you can with the NFL. Like it's really commercialized and they have all that jazz. And so, yeah. For like the Berlin Adler and the Cologne Crocodiles. His name is Krolonius. So that's the Cologne Crocodiles. Anyways, on Football 101 defense position, there's so much to know, of course. On the field, things happen so fast. I did suggest to him that he watch an NFL game on TV. It doesn't really have to be a recent one. It can be one from 5 years ago. It could be one from 3 years ago. It doesn't really matter. It's just one of those of like you can continuously study a book and take tests after a fashion. But if you don't do any lab work, if you don't actually watch, like you can do all the math of how a rocket flies into the sky and you could probably even take a test and answer all the questions. But until you go out there with your baking soda and vinegar or whatever you use or a CO2 cartridge and you launch a rocket into the sky, it's not quite the same. So again, he asks on offensive notation. That's just talking about the quickie little notations. He went a little in depth. I don't watch every football game. I don't know every commentator. Perhaps, so he asked, does one say 11 or 1-1? And this is about like a 21 formation or a 10 formation. The problem is those are just how they're written down. Most people don't say that. There are many other things, at least on defense, how we'll say it. Like, to say, like if there's a 10 formation, we'll probably just, it all depends on where the receiver is. We won't yell 10, 10, 10, meaning that there's a running back and no tight end. There might be trips. And if there's trips and there's a running back, that means there's 1, 1, 3. Well, we care more about 3, even though technically it's an 11 concept. And then there's I think in that video I go over the ever so rare 32 concept where you have 3 backs and 2 tight ends. And to be fair, you can have 2 tight ends, but it's awkward. Will the announcer say it? I don't know. It all depends. Like, I would think your career announcers might not say it. They'll use much more announcer language, like they'll say it's a falcon concept, or they're running a hawk technique with a quarterback, whatever they're running. Various names, especially ones that come out of the South, it's very weird. And so, most likely not. If one of the announcers is like an ex-quarterback, retired quarterback, and like is still in the mode of thinking very numbers and analytical over an offense, they may say something like that. It's just like, hey, this is a thing that might be said. That's all that video was. It's not really used. It's not really used for watching the NFL. But it can be said. It is usually used when people are going over like scout film. Like, oh, well, they do a lot of 10 formation. And some people use that rather than just say, they run trips a lot, because it all depends on the defense. If they're running trips a lot and their running back rarely gets the ball but just stays back as pass protection, guess what? Then you're worried about trips. You're not caring about the running back necessarily. If they're running 2 tight ends, you don't say, oh, it's a 12 formation, 1 running back, 2 tight ends. But if there is such a thing, we do not say 1-1 or 1-2. It's 10, 11, 12, 32 formation. But that's it. Some people do it, some people don't. If they don't know all the words, they will go over the notation. Like we just say base, base cover 2. We don't need to say that we are running a 4-3 defensive backs within cover 2 formation. We don't say that, we say base 2. So we already know, we don't need to say that we run 4-3 every single time. If you don't ever change your frontline defense from like a 4-3 to a 3-4, you don't ever need to say it, it's just base. And base means that there's no stunts. Also, it's just base. On receiver variety, if I'm watching a game on TV, will the commentators identify what's going on, what's set up? So for this play, Billy is a slot receiver. So this, I explained to him that it's more or less just known that that the position is what it is. If someone rolls out to a new-ish position, like if they're typically a wide out and they roll into a slot receiver position, they're still technically the number 1 receiver, but they've rolled into where this number 2 would be. But yeah, it's positioning on the field. But like your slot receiver is typically your number 2 receiver on that side. And in the terms of trips, you would probably have the wide out, the slot receiver, and if it's not a tight end, it would probably be a halfback. But the difference between those is typically a receiver or trained receiver will be in like a 2-point standing up stance. They may be crouched a little bit, whereas a tight end 1 will be right on the line, because that's where the tight comes in. He's tight to the end of the line, and will probably be more in an offensive line stance than anything else. And I explained that one is sort of like similar to baseball. You don't need to be told which hand the batter is when he is oriented over home plate differently. It's just what it is. It doesn't mean that like the wide, if there's only one, like it's trips, 1 receiver like we just talked about, or if it's trips, 1 running back and a single receiver outside, that does not mean he is the wide out and the slot receiver. It's just, there's another video where I go over, that's the video where I go over it. I just didn't think that it was so advanced and nebulous of a topic. Because to me that was very basic and cut dry. On defense coverage zone names, that's just me being silly. I wanted an extra bit of content. So the idea is that the receiver will take, and basically describes football. I'm like, well, yes, that's basically the concept of any field-long sport. Motion sport, whether it be basketball or lacrosse or football or soccer or anything. Gaelic football, hurling, hockey, ice hockey, anything like that. He basically just described any field sport where they move back and forth. There are your stationary sports, such as like cricket, baseball. Yeah, they do run around, but most everyone's kind of standing still all the time. Let's not get into this about American football, but yeah, you can orient a camera in one spot and see most of the field. You don't have to pan back and forth. I understand there's tennis, but that's only if you're sitting close because you're rich. But even so, tennis is bouncing the ball back and forth. The people don't move up and down the field like they do in the other sports. That I wrote a paragraph back to him, but that's basically, he described in very, very odd language the basic concept of any field-long motion sport. That the defense is trying to stop the ball from advancing towards their goal. Yes, that's exactly. That's the point of defense. Certain American football players on defense tend to be a bit more aggressive. I know in soccer they tend to play a bit more defensively, but in American football, maybe rugby, the defense is the more aggressive side of the ball. He also talks about the quarterback being the only person that can throw a forward pass. I'm like, no, let's not pump up the quarterbacks here in any way. Technically, the quarterback is, the ball does not have to be snapped to the quarterback. The ball doesn't even have to necessarily be snapped in a straight line. I mean, it's always a straight line because it's going to be flying, but when you actually look at it, the rules of football allow for a lot of trick plays. The problem is so many people do the exact same style thing that those trick plays exist. But the rules do not prohibit such things. I saw a video of a trick play where the quarterback, let's see, it was the center snapped under center, but then the quarterback did a small long snap to the running back about 5 yards back. But then the entire line and the tight end and the quarterback pushed forward like they were going to do a QB sneak, and the running back ran out and ran a wheel route of sorts. And it caught the defense off their thing. They were on skates, and so they got a little bit more yardage than they would have with a QB sneak. Whatever, if you need 3 yards and you can get the extra, if you need 3 and you get 4 and you would have only gotten 2, guess what? You got a first down. But I've also seen the running back is down behind the line and he squatted down, and he basically, the quarterback gets it, then hands it off to the running back who goes running straight off. Whereas there are trick plays. I've seen Julian Edelman take a pass out to the side and throw the ball to Tom Brady as a pass, because it was Tom Brady did a lateral, Julian Edelman ran around this way or something like that, then he came over to this side and then threw it long down to Tom Brady. He threw it over to the middle to Tom Brady, and Tom Brady got a pass. It's a stupid play, but that's not, you see what I mean? It's not necessary that the quarterback only catch the snap and throw the ball. He can be a receiver. He's a valid receiver. And it doesn't mean that the quarterback can only throw the pass, because there have been multiple times where I saw a quarterback, he spilled out this way, but then lateraled to his wideout receiver, to his slot receiver, who bounced out this way, who then rolled up this way and threw it. Long bomb, like, and their wideout receiver, because the cornerback backed up, but then saw, oh no, it's over this way, back down this way, let his receiver run. Trick play. But it was a receiver that threw the ball as a forward pass. The rules are not cut and dry. What people do is they do the same thing over and over, so it looks like it's a rule, but it's just, does it make sense? Last week, I was talking about the end of the season, the games before they got played on Sunday. I was complaining about football commercials on the NFL Game Pass app. And I cannot handle the USA commercials anymore. But I told him he should contact his local team because the NFL is coming to an end and it might be hard to watch without a hefty subscription to the Game Pass International app, which I think is like $150 or $200 a year or something like that. Anyways, it just draws out of my account. And so, yeah, I told him to contact the team because the GFL at all levels is going to be striking back up here pretty soon. And he can just go watch one of their games. Are they going to announce it in German? Maybe. Are they going to announce it in English? Maybe. Is it going to be Danglish? Probably. I mean, to be fair, most of the things you would announce for American football are going to be in English because that is the name for those things. The German doesn't have a word. The German word for touchdown doesn't quite mean the same thing, so they just yell touchdown. Yeah, touchdown! They'll say touchdown in the most German way possible, but it's still because that's the name of it. And the quarterback, and the running back. I've heard some Dutch say it that way. I live in the Netherlands. They speak Dutch here, not German. So they have running back. Running back. I'm like, yeah. Okay. You guys don't have that eh sound that American English has. Back. It's not an A, it's not an E, it's ah. So they just go with a flat E, so it's running back. Quarterback. Linebacker, because L-I, lange I, linebacker. Line is actually their word for line, L-I-J-N. So they can say line pretty easily, but backer is not a thing, so they say linebacker. And it's weird. I love it so much. Yes, on a different video, sample play scoring. Have I ever scored a safety? Me? No. Safeties are rare on top of that as is. Having me score one, it's much easier for a defensive lineman to score a safety because you're tackling the quarterback, and they're much more known for quarterback sacks. Yes, you can. I mean, a fucking cornerback can get it, especially if you're tossing it out to the side and you're doing a, screenplay. Then the corner or a strong safety can tackle in the end zone, or an outside linebacker. And to be fair, as a middle linebacker, I can get a quarterback sack, especially if all the line sort of pierces and I blitz through, tackle the quarterback, I can get it. But safeties in and of themselves are really hard to get. Let alone any one specific person. So, assuming you have 4 defensive linemen and a middle linebacker that are all pushing forward in a blitz play to get to the quarterback, where you've got 5 offensive linemen and a quarterback. So you've got 6 versus 5. And you also have to be back to the point where they're pushed back into the end zone. I do not have a safety. Again, he also asks, so is a kickoff like tennis? Huh? What happens if the kicker kicks the ball someplace where the returners can't get it? It's a live ball. The moment that ball is kicked, it's a live, and it goes beyond 10 yards, it's a live ball. Whoever picks it up can advance it in whatever direction. I've literally seen teams advance it in the wrong direction, because kickoff is such a chaotic environment. But if a kickoff member, the person who kicks off, not the kicker, but the kickoff team, somehow gets a hold of the ball and it's still deemed live by the refs, you can just keep running it to the end zone and get a touchdown. When the returner, or pretty much anybody on the kickoff return team, gets a hold of the ball and somehow gets all the way to the end zone, it's a touchdown. It's a flat out touchdown. That's a live ball and will be counted as normal points. It happens multiple times. If the kickoff return goes well. I've also seen the kickoff happen, the returner gets it, the returner gets hit, the ball fumbles, a kickoff person, call it Team A. Team A picks up the ball and runs it in. That happens. It happens in the NFL. It's rare because they're elite athletes, but it happens. It's a live ball the moment that thing passes 10 yards. If it goes where a returner can't get it, that's the returner's fault. That's kind of the goal. If it bounces and rolls out the back of if it rolls out of bounds, it's a touchback. But if it's still within the field of play, that ball is live. Someone has to touch it and then down it. So if the ball is like bouncing there and it just sort of sits on the ground, I think after a couple seconds it can be considered dead, but it's a live ball. You need to gain possession of that as fast as possible. Even if the kickoff team grabs the ball, like let's say it's, it kicks off, it lands about the 15-yard line. The returner like trips on his way, and the kickoff guy lands on the ball, lands on the ball, gains possession of the ball, spots it on the 15. Offense comes on the field and they have 15 yards to go. Kickoff is messy and it's a live ball. It is fair game. There's not many tackle rules a part of it aside from the actual rules. Don't grab a face mask. Don't horse collar. Don't punch the knees. Like Thanos punched Hulk. Like just don't do that. But other than that, it's a chaotic environment. Asks 2 questions on different videos. I know we're going over this, but they're both about shoulder pads, so I'm going to answer them both at the same time. Would Shock Doctor backplate fit on the shut shoulder pads that I had before? Yes. I'm saying yes with confidence, not certainty. Because Shock Doctor and other things that do not have comparable shoulder pads, I think the only proprietary ones would be like the Zenith ones where your shoulder pads come down a little bit in the pad, and the pad is supposed to come up and plug into that little triangle. But even so, it's not that proprietary. My shoulder pads, I could probably put a backplate on it, but I'm a linebacker. I've never hurt my back doing anything, so I don't need a backplate. If fat guys land on me, then fat guys land on me. I don't have to worry about being kicked in the back by an angry cornerback. And also asks, I see you're wearing an adult small. Yes, they were. I'm about 140 pounds, 5'7". I'm still enough of an American. I know what those mean. Football shoulder pads are not bound by your height and weight necessarily. Because I'm 5'11" and I'm like 225 pounds, and I wear a medium Zenith. Those are adult small shut. And the only reason I upgraded is because they felt a little small. A little small. But I'm a linebacker, so it's about your shoulder width, not your weight. So you can have small shoulders and have thick legs in a running back. Like Willie and I both wore adult small. He was a running back and I was a linebacker. I was a cornerback at the time, but now I'm a linebacker. And I wear adult medium. I know some people who are like way shorter than that. They're like 5'4" and they wear mediums because their shoulders are so broad. Because Anyways, you got to make sure you measure your shoulders. Don't worry about your height, weight. Because like 5'4", 6'4", people could both be wearing an adult medium because the 6'4" guy has a small head and the 5'4" guy has a large head. It's about your head. It would be about your head circumference for a helmet, not your height weight. So, the only time you should really kind of worry about height weight is if you're measuring for a Spider-Man costume. News is, I don't know what's going on with stuff. We will see. Press conference won't even happen until the evening, so I can't even add it in for the editing for this video. Let's check to see if Nope, nobody in the chat knows. Anyways, so, yeah, I'm going out this afternoon to do some sled training. I want to continue the sled training, but if our practices kick back up, he's only available at the times I have practice. So, that sucks. Alright, so let's go over the very next round, the wild card round. So, we're currently looking at Bengals, Raiders, Bills, Patriots, Buccaneers, Eagles. I know where that one's going. So yeah, we don't know what's technically going on, but we'll see. We've got Chiefs, Steelers. Steelers haven't been rolling very well this season, so I'm not sure they're going to survive past the Chiefs. Rams, Cardinals. Haven't really seen much great come out of the Cardinals. They're occasional. They've got Watt. They got that stuff. But I think the Rams will advance beyond that one. I'm making my predictions. Cowboys, 49ers. No, I'm going with the Cowboys. Going with the Cowboys on that one. I'm just so glad it's not the Seahawks. But I'm going Cowboys on that one. Maybe I can edge in some more playtime by my head coach, who's a Cowboys fan. Buccaneers, Eagles. I'm sorry, but Buccaneers on that one. Bengals, Raiders. Honestly, I'm going with Bengals because I prefer orange much more than I do the gay football player. I don't really care much. He had his moment in the spotlight, but it shouldn't be a big deal. So I'm going with something that matters more to a team, the colors. And Bills, Patriots, I don't actually care on that one. I mean, Bills is alphabetically first. That's it. So Bills, Bengals, Buccaneers, Cowboys. Wow, am I? No. Rams, Cardinals. I go with Rams. And then Chiefs, Steelers. All mine, except for the Rams. All of my choices were earlier in the alphabet. Wow, B, 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 C, C, R. Well, we'll see how that goes on over this weekend. That's pretty much that. February 14th is the Super Bowl. I don't even know. Maybe after the divisional round, I'll figure out who's going to be in that. Because then it'll be easy to figure out the conference champions and then the Super Bowl. But like right now, like the wild card is also a weird round too. But I'll probably watch Rams Cardinals on Wednesday. Catch you guys later.